her story. This is her story. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful. This is her story. Her story. This is her story. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful. This is her story.
Welcome to another awesome episode of Hashtag Her Chosen Story. I am your host, Clivia Allen, and we have a special guest, a queen, Queen Ra'Cole. And I am not going to delay this conversation. Her bio. Ra'Cole is a visionary entrepreneur, community leader, and the CEO of RockBrook Business Services, specializing in nonprofit accounting and financial services. A passionate advocate for economic empowerment, she has spearheaded initiatives based around financial literacy and youth entrepreneurship. Honored as a 2023 Phenomenal Woman and a 2024 League of Women Voters Hall of Fame recipient. Ra'Cole continues to inspire others through her dedication to business, innovation, and community development. And without any further ado, please welcome Ra'Cole Taltoan to the stage. Hello, Ra'Cole.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
So glad to have you here on Hashtag Her Chosen Story, where we, as women, and I started to include men, where we share our untold stories and, from where we started to where we are and where we're headed. So I would definitely want you to jump right in to tell us, who you are, how you got started. We know that you are the CEO of RockBrook Business Services, and I know there's more to that. So definitely I will give you the stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ra'Cole Taltoan. I am the CEO of RockBrook Business Services, where we focus on nonprofits, maintaining them, starting them, and growing them. I think I messed that all up. Excuse me.
That's all right.
Grow them and maintain them. So, and that's with any business, any entrepreneur, any small business. If you're looking to get started, we can do that here for you at RockBrook. And I'm also the CEO of Radiance Essentials, where we sell essential products such as soaps, lotions, body butters, things of that nature. So that's kind of me and things that I do. Yeah, I'm ready for your interview. I'm not sure.
I love it. So we are going to start with your early beginnings. What key components of successful business strategies? And I'm going to do twofold questions. So what components helped you in regards to, I will call you a successful businesswoman. Where did this journey begin?
This journey for me, it began, I have to go back to when my father made me do his taxes. One year I was getting ready to graduate high school, and he gave me a stack of papers and he's like, go see if you can figure this out. And he did that because I was an A student in math. I never got a B in math. It was always A's. So I guess he was testing my math skills. And I did the return. I went to the library and I studied and I just followed directions. And I got the return done. He took it to his accountant, and his accountant said, you know what? This is correct. You might have something with her. And when I learned that I did that return right, I was like, okay, this is the field that I want to go into. I want to just do taxes. I didn't know it was a whole world of accounting out there at the time.
Right.
That's
Wow.
the basis of where that foundation came from.
Yeah, and now starting RockBrook, I want to know about the name. Where did that name originate from? And did you have money? What would you tell young entrepreneurs that want to jump in? They love money and they want to learn how to make money. Do we need money to start these businesses? What did that look like for young Ra'Cole?
So starting RockBrook, it kind of started at home in 2011. Again, I was just doing just taxes for my family, friends. I was just coming back to Youngstown, Ohio, where I'm from. I was living in Dayton, Ohio. Um, so I brought some of those people that I was doing taxes for. So I literally only had probably 15 to 20 clients at the time.
Okay.
Um, and in 2015, I got ready to kind of move forward. And that's when I decided to register with the state my business. And I needed to figure out a name because prior to that, I had went through several names.
Okay.
One of them was Ra'Cole's Business Services, and I had one of our CPAs here in the city tell me, "You don't want to start a business using your name,
Your name.
because what
Okay.
if something happens to your name and now your business is also destroyed as well?"
Right.
So I came up with RockBrook Business Services. It is a combination of the neighborhood that I grew up in.
Okay.
I grew up in the projects of Youngstown, Ohio. Back then it was called the Kimmel Brooks. Today it's called Rockford Village. So I took the combination of the two, RockBrook, put it together, and it just reminds me of where I came from and to never forget that.
I love that. I definitely love that. And in regards to youngpreneurs, I know in your bio you mentioned, being an advocate, empowerment and advocate, and also for youth entrepreneurship. So for those young people that are going to hear this, do they need money? Do they have to maybe get a job first and then start their business? How did that look like, for you?
When I started, I didn't have not a dime. I actually, when I started, my children were, and I could keep track of their age because my youngest son is the age of the year. So it was 2011, my son was 11. Going into 2015, my baby boy was 15. I was still on
Okay.
welfare. I was still getting
Right.
food stamps. Um, I was I was blessed enough to be able to go into an incubated space. Shout out to Pat Kerrigan over at the Oak Hill Collaborative in Youngstown, Ohio. He gave me a space where I could kind of grow.
Mm-hmm.
And he introduced me to community. He introduced me to people. He made connections for me. And one of
Right.
those connections was SCORE. And when that connection came, SCORE didn't have anyone to kind of fill in that space for accounting. So I took that place and I was able to grow my business alongside with SCORE. So that is kind of how I started. To my young entrepreneurs, one thing I will say, and I've learned over the years, that building your credit is very, very important in
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
especially when you don't have funding. So building your
Right.
credit and doing the business that you're doing, make sure that your financials are very organized, because the two of those things together will help jump you to the next level. Also, working your way out of your job. So
Right.
for me, I was working part-time at a local telemarketing place. It's very famous here in the city. And I was still doing this on the side. And once I got the concept of the money that I can make over here, I just
Right.
did reverse engineering and worked my way out of that corporate America into 100% Rockbrook for
I love
myself.
that. I love
So
that.
yeah, getting your
Yeah.
credit together and um I'm sorry, getting your credit together and knowing exactly what you want to do is key to moving
It's part
forward.
of the I love
Yes.
that. Yeah, and you mentioned, I'm going back to the name of the business. So I think it's important that our listeners understand where you came from. And
Yes.
some people feel like success, you can wake up successful, but you have to work towards it. You mentioned being on welfare, you mentioned living in the projects. And God is able to use that as part of our story so that people can understand, oh, wow, I can do it too.
Yes.
And even thinking of the scriptures, I think there's a scripture that says nothing good comes out of, where was he from? Talking about Jesus, Nineveh, not Nineveh, somewhere in the Bible where it was like, basically, we know he was born in Bethlehem. So that might have been a poor area of being born in a manger. And who would have thought that king, this child born a king, would be the savior of the world. So that's something that I always look at. And even my brand, Chosen, like I believe we're all chosen. And we just have to tap into those gifts that we were born with. And do it afraid and take the blueprint of even what you're sharing, credit. I had someone on the platform a few weeks ago, a young man, and he's gonna join me sometime soon. And then I want another session where I'll have you and Toria and him talking about financial literacy, because we need it, right? So
Yes,
whether it's accounting, keeping our books in order, keeping our businesses legit, following the laws, the tax laws. And he focuses on financial literacy, but credit, how to have credit. He mentioned his daughter's 16 and she has a credit card. So by the time she's 25, she'll have her first home. She'll be in college and actually be able to rent that home out and purchase another. And I think they actually, I want to say they live in Ohio. So maybe I'll definitely connect you guys. I think he's
yes,
in Ohio. Yeah. His brand is called Shake Hands with Destiny. And I think it's just an amazing thing that we can talk about these things because of our experience, because of what we've learned along the way. And some people, again, they would measure success beyond profit. Like, okay, I want the money, but how do I get there? You have to work towards it, right? You
right,
have to take classes. You mentioned even the word community. We met in Women into Networking, which is something that I prayed for, that I have all these ideas, all these things I want to do, but I want to do it right. And God just allowed me to connect with so many women through, this community. And now look at us, having this conversation about how can we help others, right? From the youngest to the oldest, because some people are in business and they don't know what to do, right? So
exactly.
having someone like you in their corner, I think it's really key. What are some of the pitfalls entrepreneurs should avoid when starting a business? And I'm gonna remove myself. I'll let you have the stage. And you could go
Some
in.
of
You could go in.
some of the pitfalls you should avoid as an entrepreneur. I think the most important thing, and this is what I tell myself and my clients, if you do not know what you're doing in a specific area, go find someone to do that. That makes a smart entrepreneur, because what happens when you keep trying to figure out something that you just can't figure out, you're going to lose money over here because you're wasting time in an area where you're not being productive, as opposed to working in the area in which you're productive in, so that you can bring in more funds. So I will first and foremost say, what you are not good in, find someone who is, because otherwise you're just wasting time. Another thing is, pay attention to who is around you, who's in your circle, who are your mentors. What is the information that they're giving you? What are they telling you? Are they for you? You want to pay attention to that. I've been through several situations, and I'm not going to go real deep, but I've been through several situations where I've had people just work with me to bring me down. So you have to pay attention to that. Know what you're doing. Again, go back to know what you're doing, know what your skill set is. When you don't know what you're doing, it's the fastest way to lose business and lose your business as a whole. um, what else can I say? Know your numbers. Know your numbers. That is the most important part of business. And I don't say that just because I do accounting, I'm an accountant. I say that because when it comes to business, people only really look at the numbers, especially when you're looking for investors, or let's say you want to grow. Let's say you're looking to bring on people and you need additional funding, or you want to get a building and you need funding. You got to know your numbers. You got to be able to know what you're bringing in and what's going out. Otherwise, you don't have a business. Or how do you know it's profitable? How you know you're making any money? Um, Another pitfall that I would say you want to avoid is, let me think. You want to know your numbers. You want to make sure you have people around you. Um, get in community. Get with the community. Like Clivia said, we are part of the Women in Networking community, and I love that community. Get in community. Get around some people that wholeheartedly support you in everything that you're doing, and will tell you when you're not right and when you're wrong. That is key to business and the people around you. You have to be able to have those people who will be honest with you, that just won't let you keep doing something blindly. So those are some of the things that I would say you want to avoid and also pay attention to when you're in business, is those few things.
I love that. I love that. And I really think it's just important to mention those things because sometimes we overlook them. Mentorship, coaching, knowing your numbers. I had a book reading with some youths. This was, I want to say in February. And one of the things I asked before we ended, what do they want to be when they grow up? Which is a question we always hear.
Hmm.
And you talk about actress, entrepreneur, NBA, soccer player. And I said, well, it's important to read. I said, because you're going to be signing contracts and numbers are going to be presented. You need to know math. So I'm like, stay in school. So those are, I mean, as simple as I had to break it down to them, we have to tell adults the same thing. Know your numbers, read through it. And
Yes.
if you don't understand, hire someone to do it for you, right? Do you offer, let's say, contract services like in regards to auditing and things of that nature under RockBrook?
I don't do any auditing, only because auditing is falling under a CPA
Okay.
licensor here in Ohio. I'm almost sure it's across the border, across
Okay.
state to state, but I
Yeah.
don't do any auditing. However, I will, and our company's motto is to make sure that you're audit ready.
Got
So
it.
I'll say it like this: we don't do auditing yet,
There you
because
go.
our governor here in the state of Ohio has just changed our laws. They don't go into effect until 2026. But as
Okay.
long as we carry a bachelor's degree and we have at least 2 years work experience, we can now sit for a CPA.
Oh,
So
that's
that
beautiful.
is something that I am going to pursue. Um, I'm not going to take any tests in 2026. I am starting to study, but my goal, I've added it into my strategic plan for Rockbrook, is to have obtained my CPA licensure by 2030.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's a beautiful thing. I know we were talking earlier. You mentioned even running for city council. Could you share a little bit on what inspired that and who inspires you, by the way, to do all of this? What keeps you going?
Yeah, a lot of people inspire me. I can't even, I have, for one, first and foremost, I have to give it to my dear mother.
Okay.
Um, she inspired me so much because of how I've watched her endure and come back. Just to give a quick snapshot, again, we grew up in the projects. My mother, she was on drugs growing up. I had to be the mother, the father,
Right.
just to kind of go back and just to bring it here on now is just phenomenal. So my mother inspires me. She's been clean for over 35 years.
That's
She's now a
beautiful.
pastor.
Wow.
Um, 3 years ago, she decided I'm going to move to Atlanta, Georgia. So she's currently
Okay.
living in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a phenomenal feat for her, because it's just she's doing all of this on her own. So I'm
That's
very proud of
beautiful.
my mother. Um, Another person I could say, again, I have to go back to Pat Kerrigan, former judge Pat Kerrigan in our city, Youngstown, Ohio. He is the executive director at the Oak Hill Collaborative. He gave me opportunity when I did not
Beautiful.
see a way out.
Right.
Who else do I have? I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm going to miss so many people, but it is a lot of people. And bringing it to
Yeah.
today, I have to give a big shout out to Allegra Jackson, the
Yes.
Wayne community person who started this whole thing. So shout out to Allegra for even creating such a community so that I find like
Yes.
I have a space where I can truly be myself. Um,
Yeah.
so I think I've answered the question. I'm not
Yeah, for
sure,
sure.
but
You did.
that's
You did. And I know I've been dropping a lot of follow-up questions. The other question was in regards to doing city council work. What
my.
inspired that? Because I know there's a need in our community, and I grew up what we call the hood, and that's just what it was, but beautiful things come out of those places. So I relocated to Florida growing up in Brooklyn, New York. So I always go back every year. And actually, for this year, I'm planning on doing, I normally danced when I was there, had a dance studio for 13 years. And I do want to do something, with the youth. I know a lot of them are all grown up now, but, what does it take for you to want to run? I think it's coming up in a few maybe years or so. What does that look like for you, and why city council?
I started, I wanted to become a city council person because in 20, I think it was 2017, I was in AmeriCorps Vista. And I did that for 2.5 years. I actually had to resign as an AmeriCorps Vista in 2019 because that's the first time that I ran for city council. Um,
Okay.
I had no idea what I was doing. I had no clue. Of course, I lost. I lost by 186 votes that particular election. But moving forward, it taught me to, because I lost because no one knew who I was. I just jumped out there. And
I was just
so
gonna say that now you're in the win community, so you will win.
I just jumped out there, no clue. And these people was like, who is this girl? And
Right.
so fast forward, that was 2019, we're in 2025. I did run again in 2023. I did lose that by 46 votes this time.
Okay. We're almost
um
there.
and he was an incumbent, so I felt really great in that loss. Even though I lost, I still feel like I won,
Yeah, I love
because
that.
as coming from where I came from and being what they call nobody, I lost by 46 votes, which spoke
Mm,
volumes to people.
definitely.
Currently, now, me and our councilman, we work together on several projects. Right now, we're doing cleanups in our neighborhood. Um,
Okay.
and I just did it because I saw that I could make a difference for my community from a legislative seat.
I
And
love that.
that was it. I
Yeah,
can make
that's
a
key.
difference from a legislative seat, because that's where everything happens, in that council.
Yes.
That's where all the laws are made, passed, or denied.
Yeah, that is key. Yeah, I love that. And honestly, like I said, I mean, being part of the WIN community, it is encouraging. So if they didn't know your name back in 2019, they're gonna know your name now. We're gonna share this episode, so y'all get ready. I don't know how the voting works out of state, but we'll make sure that we hit up some people out there, like vote for Ra'Cole, okay?
Yes,
Definitely, that is really encouraging. And I mean, small wins from 100 and something to 46, 2020, what is it, 2026 or 2027? Here we come.
2027. I'll be starting to campaign at the end of 20, after elections in 2026. So after
Okay.
the
Okay.
elections next year, I'll start campaigning for my seat again.
I love that. I love that. And that's really, really encouraging. And I mean, just talking about business and how everyone have a different story of how they started. Some people we know maybe it was handed to them. It was, they what's the word? They invested, or daddy died, so now I'm the business owner. But some of us had to start from nothing, and like you thank some of those people that really opened the door and held your hand and taught you, and you found your community and your tribe. And even for your mom to see what she was and now what she is and how she's living her best life, and
Right.
I'm pretty sure you would want that for generations to come. And it's just really a beautiful thing that we have people like you that are able to be servant leaders. And something you mentioned in our conversation before, we were talking about pricing and knowing your worth. And sometimes people might see a price and say, oh well, I can't afford that. And you made a statement like, well, maybe, sorry to say, maybe you're not my ideal client. So even with that, like, don't ever limit yourself, and just share a little on that, and then we're gonna play a little game before we close out today. So share a little on, in regards to knowing your worth, setting your pricing. How do you you mentioned even knowing your numbers. How do you know, okay, this is the price that I'm going to charge, and it doesn't matter who you are across the board, this is what it is.
Yes, I've come up with some of my pricing strategies based on industry, and most of it comes from what clients tell me that they are paying other people.
Okay.
So I had a friend of mine. We literally grew up together, and he called me last year. And he's like, "Ra'Cole, how much you charge to do our taxes?" And I gave him a price, and he was like, "Whoa, that is way cheaper than what we're paying." And I'm like, "Well, how much you paying now?" And
Mhm.
I gave him a price of $250.
Mhm.
He was paying $2,500. And I was like, okay, so I have to figure something out here. So
Right.
then that's when I kind of restructured things. Well, actually, let me kind of go back real quick. I got sick
Mhm.
last year, and I had to sit down for the entire, well, not the entire year, but from May
Most
through
of.
December.
Okay.
And that made me sit down and restructure a lot of things as far as pricing. When I come
Right.
back into the workforce, how do I want things to look? Where do I
Yeah.
want to be? And his conversation kind of set the tone for where I am today. And it's
Right.
not that you're not my customer, because I will work with some people that I
Right.
want to retain as customers. But if
Mhm.
I see it's a consistent something all the time with my pricing, yeah, no, because now it's going to become a headache for me. And that
Right.
is,
That's understood.
I don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
headaches. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I
that,
love your transparency. Um, One question I did have, let me see if it's still on the tip of my tongue, something that you mentioned. Um, let's celebrate some small wins. So I know there's been some construction in the background. So from
yeah.
where you started to where you are today and to where you're about to be, what does business look like? Do you still work from home? Do you have your own office? What does that look like for RockBrook?
So right now, today, I am kind of working between the two. So we acquired a building in August of last year.
Beautiful.
We went through the renovation process. We're still kind of in it. We're just waiting for, we're in Ohio. So if you know Ohio weather, it is very, very bipolar. Um,
Oh, okay.
we're still in weather. I woke up with snow 2 days ago on my car.
No
Um,
way.
where, and I have I took a screenshot the other day because it said our high was 54 degrees. It was literally 34 degrees outside and it felt like 17.
Oh my goodness.
So that is like Ohio weather. But
Wow.
right now we're working from home. I use my local library as well to meet clients, only because
Okay.
I don't have an occupancy certificate for the building yet. We still are doing some things on the inside. I could go get one, but I don't want to bring people in because
Yeah.
they're still fixing on the bathroom. I just got the floor done
Right.
in the bathroom. I'm painting. We are painting. I just want everything to be put together because this is my second time going through such a project. I bought a
Okay.
building in 2020 and I did not do that building correctly at all. And
Okay.
I ended up having to sell that in 2023. So
Yeah.
then 24 happened, and so this is just kind of a fresh
A
start. I
restart.
started to
Yeah.
do a post this morning where I said I'm not rushing anything. I'm taking my
There
time
you
with everything.
go. Everything,
So
yeah.
that's
Every
just where
delay
I'm
takes time.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
just
that.
taking my time with everything. I'm not, a lot of people like, what's going on, what's this, when. It's just all in God's
God's
timing. I'm not
timing. That's
rushing
right.
because when
God's
I've
timing.
rushed in the past, I've failed.
Yeah.
So no rushing, take my time.
Yeah.
And when I present it, it will be in
It'll
God's.
be
But
exactly. I love that. And that's a word because even last week, even with my current job, there's kind of like a stagnant. It's just nothing feels like it's happening. But I'm like, one, God is working in the background. And
yes,
two, one of the a company we're gonna partner with, he shot me a text just to check in and he was like, tell the owner all things, what was it? It's basically saying all good things take time, right? We know that Rome wasn't built in a day. All these big companies we know, they started somewhere. They started, I remember seeing a photo where Amazon, it was actually marker. It was a non-dry marker with the
see,
word Amazon on paper on his wall, and he's at this little desk in the corner. Every one of these companies had a vision, but they started somewhere, right?
yes,
And maybe they just didn't know, and over time they started learning and growing. So I love that you're taking your time this time around. And again, we go through those things to learn. We go through it so we'll be able to help somebody that's like, wait, don't rush it. Take your time. If you are able to work at home, do that. If you want to have a meeting, let's meet at the coffee shop. And things can still flow. And that's what we've been doing even on my end. Like, don't stop. Don't be discouraged. People would say what they want to say, but
Yes.
definitely that's a blueprint we should all follow. We should all follow. All right, so we're going to play a game I call What You Heard. But before we do that, I just want the people to know this episode was sponsored by you, you, Ra'Cole. And this is RockBrook Business Services, LLC. All things accounting, taxes, business development needs are met. Check out RockBrook Businesses, and we have the link. And I'll show that link one more time. It's a stand.store/Rockbrook 3. And if you have questions, if you want more information, definitely connect. And just to let you viewers know that regardless of where you live in the US, Ra'Cole, I believe you're able to service all states.
Yes. Yes.
That is good to know. That is good to know.
Ours is very federal.
Okay, there you go. There you go. So I'm going to say a word and you will fill in the blank. Whatever comes to mind, you'll just fill in the blank, what you heard. All right, so let's see. I'll do maybe 3 words, maybe 4 as a bonus. Community. What comes to mind? Community.
When?
There you go. Accounting.
RockBrook.
Family.
Carson, my grandson.
See? And I'll give you a bonus. I'm going to say your name, Ra'Cole.
Blessed.
There we go. I love that. I love that. I love that. What last remarks would you like to leave with our viewers and those who would, hear this video? We'll share this video. But, for me, I think I have maybe 27 followers now, and I'm okay with that. And that's a win for me. And it's also, if it's just one person that learns something from what you said, that's a beautiful thing, right?
Yes.
If we can impact one, what would you tell that one person that needs to hear these words?
Don't stop. Keep going. It's not going to be easy. Take the hard with the good, with the bad, and stay focused.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ra'Cole. It was a pleasure having you on #Her Chosen Story, where we share those untold stories, where we get to know each other a little more. And it's really encouraging that, I can say whether it was you came from nothing or you came from what people thought wouldn't be. And here you are today, a CEO of your own company. And I am just in awe of all that you're doing. And again, we're rooting for you and all the things that are happening. And just keep on doing, like you encourage them, I'm encouraging you, don't stop and keep on smiling and take care of yourself, and just be good to you. And yeah, you are chosen for such a time as this. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Clivia.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
See you.
Well, that was the Queen Ra'Cole, and it was just a pleasure to have her here with us on this stage. And it's just a reminder that we are chosen for such a time as this, regardless of where you're from, regardless of the doubts that you may have. We mentioned the word imposter syndrome. It's a real thing, but you have to believe in yourself. And if you need a community, we have the WIN community. I'll share the link on the bottom if you want to join. There is a free membership option, and then there's paid membership options. But it's really a place where you can grow. And it's not just a place for women, but also men that support women, that sees the goal in regards to just networking and growing. And if you don't know something, you can ask, right? You can tap into different resources that we offer. But again, I'm just going to share that this episode, it was sponsored by Ra'Cole of RockBrook Business Services, all things taxes, accounting, and business development where needs are met, also focusing on youth entrepreneurship. You can book a one-on-one focus call with her. Again, we will share that link in the description. And I just want you to remember to always be bold, be brave, and be beautiful inside and out. And you are chosen for such a time as this. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.